Hi friend, I'm so glad that you're here. Today we're going to take some items that I've been collecting while out thrift shopping, antique shopping, and auction shopping. And also I'm going to grab something from my own home, and we're going to make these things over today into something new. I think that you're going to enjoy all of these projects. Make sure that you stay tuned all the way to the end because I do have a special surprise for you at the end of the video, so stay tuned. The first project that we're going to work on is my craft table. Now, we made this a couple of years ago. It's an antique sewing base. My husband cut a piece of wood to put on the top. He put casters on it, or I put casters. I don't remember who. Anyway, you can see I've done a lot of work on this little craft table. I use it for a sewing machine and crafting and painting and all sorts of things. And it just needs an overhaul because one of my daughters needs it in her craft room. So I picked a color that I knew she would love in her home. It's called Acacia. It's a beautiful blue-green color, and she just loves it so much. Anyway, I had to put 2 coats of paint on the top of this table, and you can see that I've done like a crosshatch design. This is one of my tricks. Number 1, I like the texture that it makes, and number 2, I think it kind of hides the imperfections and makes them look more on purpose. I'll show you how to do it later in the video when I put the clear coat sealer on the top. Next, we're going to take this little tray that costs $2.50, and I bet you've seen a lot of these out in the thrift store. They're all over the place. I love these little trays. I have some old hardware on hand. Actually, that hardware is not going to be used on this tray, but these little feet are. These are not actually feet. They're called candle cups, and several of you here on YouTube told me what they were called. So what I like to do with these, I have about 100 of them that I got at a yard sale. I cut the little pieces off at the end, and then I glue them on and I make them into little feet, and that creates these little risers. They're just so cute. Now, I'm not finished with this. I had to glue this. I allowed it to dry overnight, and then we'll take care of the rest of it tomorrow. But for now, this other tray that I have was already put together. So the legs that you see on that were actually spindles off of a table or something or other. Who knows what I had. We cut them down and glued them on in the same way. Now this is where these handles, these drawer pulls come into play. I grabbed some E6000 and I put glue on the high edges all around the perimeter of this. And then I grabbed my clamps and I clamped it onto this little tray and I allowed it to dry overnight. I had to really finagle with this because it kept wanting, the handle kept wanting to slide down, and I needed about 3 other hands to do this, but we got it done. I got a handle glued on each side, and then I set it aside to let it dry overnight. Back to this first tray, that glue actually dried in a few hours. So a few hours later, once the little feet were steady on there, I got to business filling up this design. This is like an embossed design on a lot of these trays. I know that you're going to see them. So I just used a wood filler and I filled it in. Yes, I know I should have a putty knife, but there's that. Sometimes you just grab whatever you have on hand, and that's what I did. I put 1 coat on and then I let it dry. Before you use any kind of paint, be sure to stir it really well. You'll see that that color had separated on the top, and then I really had to stir that blue color in. And by the way, look at it. Isn't it so pretty? I'm painting the fruit. Did you see the fruit at the beginning of the video? This fruit was like sparkly. I don't know what that is. I think it was made for Christmas, and it would be really pretty at Christmas, but you know, I like change. So I grabbed some paint and I painted them in a really pretty blue and a really pretty green color, and then I'm going to add another touch to it. I used my blow dryer to dry the first side so that I could handle these a little bit better, and it worked out just fine. So then I grabbed a lighter color and I just tap, tap, tap. You see how I'm dabbing that on, and it just knocks the color down a little bit. I really like the final look of this. I know you're going to like it too. I wanted to tell you about my Facebook group. It's called Recreate and Decorate, and we are a group of thrift-loving, project-making kind of people, and we share each other's projects and we inspire. I would love it for you to join. I've got the link down in the description so you can join us. Silk paint has a built-in top coat, but since this is a craft table, I wanted to take extra care of it. So I'm adding this product. It's called Gator hide. It's a really durable surface, and my daughter's going to appreciate that this table's going to last her for a long time with lots of crafting. So what I do when I do this crosshatch pattern that I mentioned earlier, I lay on the paint, just to get it on there in an even coat. Then I take my paintbrush back over the surface and I go in different directions with the bristles. I'll crisscross this way, then turn my hand and crisscross that way, and it creates a really nice texture. Go ahead and give it a try. I think you'll like it. You're going to notice that I've changed pants. Now, I don't remember exactly what happened. It was either the next day, which is a possibility, or it was later that day because I was on the floor doing the projects because I had used up my craft table and it was wet with new paint and clear coat. So I had to spread out a cardboard box, and I did most of these projects on the floor, and those stretchy pants came in handy way better than the blue jeans, if you know what I'm saying. So the handles are dry, and I think it was the next day. Actually, now that I'm doing this voiceover and I'm looking at this video, I think it was the next day. So I grabbed a really pretty paint called, what was that called? Hampton Olive. It's a really beautiful olive green. Oh, I love it. So when I'm painting these little trays, I always do the bottom side first, and then I leave the top side to do last. I mean, there's just logic in that. I grabbed a little artist paintbrush. I just like using these things. And I got into all the nooks and crannies. Now, hindsight, look on the inside of that tray, and there's a gap where the very flat bottom and the sides meet. I should have filled those with the wood filler, but I didn't. Let me know down in the comments, do you think I should have taken the time to fill those with wood filler and just leave it as is? I thought this bowl was really pretty when I saw it at the thrift store, and it reminded me of another bowl kind of similar that I worked on several months ago that created quite a stir here on YouTube. The makeover that I did to this bowl, many people did not like, so you'll have to pop over there and watch that video so you can see what I did to it. But I did want to mention that, if you are selling pieces, which I used to do, or if you have them in your home, you style that piece of home decor or furniture the way you like it, that matches your home and your style. That is how you curate a look for your home, and don't worry about what other people say. Just create for yourself, for your home, for your family. And if you sell the pieces, you've got to create those pieces so that they'll be sold. And that's what I did with that bowl that I just mentioned. I created a look that others loved. And by the way, that bowl, when I put it in my vendor spot, sold within days of being there. You'll notice that I ended up out in my outdoor workshop with the garage door just a little bit open. It was pouring rain, so I just had to crack the door open, and I had to get that power sander on that bowl, and I might as well do it to these little wooden cutting boards too. I just took the Orbital Sander and 150 grit sandpaper, and I really went to town. Now that piece that I'm working on now, it did not turn out so great. Keep watching, and let's see what we come up with. Once all the sanding was done, I brought them inside and I wiped them down with a cloth just to get all that dust off of each one of those pieces. There's that little cutting board. You can see the color difference. I don't know what kind of wood this is. If you know, let me know down in the comments. But did you notice how there are two different colors? There's two different chunks of wood, and one did not sand down as well as the other side. Go back and watch that. You'll see that was a little disappointing. You're probably noticing that I jump around from project to project, and it's fun because I've had a lot of you say here on YouTube that you do the same thing, that you are project jumpers. So we're all in the same group. I think it's that creative mind. All right, so back to this little cutting board. I thought I'll grab this water-based stain and let's see if I can whitewash it and kind of even out the color a little bit. This is, like I said, a water-based product. You wipe it on, then you wipe off the excess, and I've had good luck with this stuff before, but on this little piece, I don't know. I kept trying and kept trying, so I put, I think, even a second coat of the white on there, just hopeful that it would look good. And Like I said, I was pretty persistent here, and finally I took it to the kitchen sink and I washed it all off. I did not like the look one bit. I'm not real crazy about it at this point either. That wood was just something. I mean, I like the back side of it, but the front where that little curve is, look at that. Isn't that interesting? Well, we're going to keep working on that, so hang tight. For now, we're on to coat number 2 on this little tray in that color, Hampton Olive. I found these little kitchen utensils the last time my sisters and I went thrifting. We were at the Goodwill bins and I grabbed these, so they were part of that. You know how you get stuff and it's by weight, so I don't exactly know what I paid for them, but they were a pair, and I knew it because the base of these had little hangers and the hangers were exactly the same, so I knew that they were a pair. I got them sanded. I didn't do a great job, so stay tuned and I'll show you what I did here in a minute. Wax It All is a food-safe product that you can use on cutting boards and kitchen utensils, anything like that that's going to come into contact with food. In fact, I even did a whole video on using Wax It All on cutting boards that my husband used to make cutting boards for our small vendor booth. So if you find a cutting board at a thrift store, grab it and then get this product, because once you sand it down and you put this product on there, the cutting board will look brand new. I mean, just like this beautiful bowl. Look how beautiful that is turning out. We're headed out to my garage workshop and I'm going to get serious about sanding these utensils. It stopped raining, so yep, I pulled my little workbench out into the driveway. I got my Orbital Sander loaded up with a piece of 150 grit, and I just went to town. Now this is tricky because these pieces are small and long, and you're working around curves. You see that little thing popped off. I'll glue that on later. But you have to hold your sander at kind of an angle. I'm just using the edge of my sander to go around. And you also notice I'm constantly turning that piece. You do not want that sander to kind of settle on one spot, because you'll have a whole brand new shape and you don't want that. So you have to be really careful with this. It will make your hands very tired, at least my hands. So you just very slowly, very carefully watch your hands, because if that sandpaper gets your skin, it hurts. So maybe I should have worn gloves. I don't know. Do you wear gloves when you're doing this kind of thing? I just don't maneuver well with gloves on, and I just am kind of risky, I guess. This Wax It All works really great on these utensils. Now listen, do you know what this thing is? To me, it looks like a sock darner. Like this is an old school darning tool that you would use to darn up holes in socks and other things like that. But like I said, the ends of the utensils both match, and one is like a meat mallet. So I don't know what this one is. If you have any idea, please let me know down in the comments. I'm itching to know what it is. Should I keep it in my craft room for sewing projects, or should I put it in my kitchen with the meat mallet? I have no clue, but let me know down in the comments. This next project is really fun, but I've got to seal all of that wood filler because I don't want a different texture once I get this thing painted. Of course, I'm going to paint it. So I use this bonding boss. It'll seal it all in. It goes on white, but it actually dries in clear. Then I grabbed a really pretty soft gray called Oyster, really a lovely color. Again, you've got to stir this stuff up because it really does settle. Now it goes on, it looks white, but you saw there in the can, there in the background, it is definitely a light gray. It's just the way my camera's picking it up. It's really pretty. One of my favorite things to do in the whole wide world is to have a paintbrush in my hand and paint little projects just like this. Are you a transfer fanatic? I'm slowly becoming one, especially with designs like this. Now, this one I especially like because it is several different components. I don't have to use them all. I can break them up, separate them, make them and shape them the way that I want. Some of the transfers that you get, like on my last project, that little washstand, I will link that video. It's a beautiful transfer. I love it. But it wouldn't work for something like this because it is one large design, whereas this one is a whole bunch of smaller designs. I can use a little bit on this project and then another one on another project, so this is fun. I'm going to have all of these supplies linked down below in the description, so be sure to check down there in case you want to use some products just like this. I had to do some finagling to figure out where this design would lay best on this, because this is going to fold over the edges. I've got lots of hard lines to work against and folding around the edge and to the underside, and there's quite a bit of work to do here, so I took it very slowly, figured out where I wanted to lay it, and then I went ahead and used the tool. It's like this it's like a little hard plastic tool that you use, and you rub it on, and then it transfers the design onto the surface, whatever surface that you're working on. So I did not, you see how I've got part of it sticking up. I did not allow that transfer to fold over until I was ready for it. And here, I even cut away little bits of it, like where that handle is, you can see. I cut away little bits of it. I took that piece off, and then I'm going to use it in another little spot once I get it all cut away. Now, if you're cutting away like this, the back side of the design itself is sticky, and you don't want it to stick on anything because it will adhere and you've ruined your design. So I took that little leaf and I just carefully made it work around that handle, you know, just a little bit at a time. You really have to work on something like this. And I don't know, for some of you, you might say that's too much effort. For somebody like me, and maybe you are like me, and you like doing this kind of nitpicky work, I do. I really enjoyed working with this. The results turned out really great. I think you're going to love it. Don't forget that I'm going to have all the supplies that I used down in the description. There'll be links for you. Just click on the links, and if you need the paint, the transfer, the paintbrush, any of those supplies, I'll have it linked down below, so be sure to check that. Now, I am also going to have 2 other links down there I want you to pay attention to. One is about that Facebook group. It's called Recreate and Decorate with Reinvented Delaware. Join us over there, share your ideas. I'll share my ideas. We're all sharing our ideas and inspiring one another to create things from thrift store finds and yard sale finds. And oh yay, yard sale season's right around the corner. So we'll be sharing some of our trips and the hauls that we have. I just would love for you to join us. The other link I want you to pay attention to is the one to join my freebie library. Yep, over on my blog, I have a full resource library for you of printables. Now, these printables include downloads like the screenshot here that you see of my phone background. I have greeting cards, gift tags, and I even have frameable art that you can print off on your own computer and put them in a thrift store frame and decorate with your home. I have designs for all 4 seasons, and I know that you are going to find some designs that you love. If you need a greeting card, if you need a gift tag, anything like that, I've got you covered. Click that link down in the description. Join my email, and you'll have access to that freebie printable library. I better mention that there is one of the projects that I did not get to. The more I looked at it, I thought, I'm going to hold off till Christmas. So stay tuned in the coming months, and I will make over this little decorative element. Whatever it's called, I don't know, but we'll make it pretty closer to Christmas. I hope you enjoyed the projects that we made together today. Let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite. I don't know if I can pick my favorite. I sure like the tray with the beautiful blue and green fruit in it, or that craft table I know my daughter loves, but those wood items, I don't know. I just love them all. Let me know your favorites. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed watching, and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our future thrift store makeovers. I have lots more videos showing projects that are similar to this but different and unique, and I know that you're going to love them. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.